I'm Adora Wolfor and welcome to Living a Creative Life. Today, I'll introduce you to 3 Calgarians who make the city a better place with purpose by living their authentic lives. Today, a can't-miss Calgary mural, combining fashion with a statement, and a place for risk-taking artwork. There's heritage and tradition on display all over Calgary's Chinatown, including a mural that tells quite a story. Polly from Rari and Polly, a creative team who have created an amazing mural in Chinatown. How did the process begin for this incredible piece of art?
Because we do so many art shows across Canada, we had a chance to visit all of the Chinatowns and all of the groups. And so we had perspective and we wanted to do something here in our home city here in Calgary. And the wall adjacent to Centre Street Bridge and the Bow River made so much sense that everyone instinctively knew the Qingming Scroll and a representation of what that could look like in a modern flair. And there's a lot of history in this design. So back in the day, an emperor had commissioned an artist to depict his dynasty in their way, and future emperors would eventually commission artists to recreate this amazing scroll. And now we're here today in 2023 where we painted this mural, and I'm so happy to be able to work with the Chinese community to add our flair to a place here in Calgary.
And I think it was about 1.5 years of preparation to do all of the elements of the mural to get it painted. We've received nothing but love. They're amazed by it when they see it. We'll bring our friends down and show them. So look at how big this is.
How do you feel about your art and the collaboration with your partner?
I think it's been really awesome. Like, more recently, we've been focusing a little more on, like, he does a lot more of the design work, and then I do a lot more of the, like, painting and the, like, screen printing. We both have different expressions for our artworks that we combine together to make, like, a cohesive piece. We've done so many really interesting and cool things that I didn't think that we would get to the point of doing, which I think is really cool.
To be able to earn the trust from people who have built Chinatown here in Calgary from the beginning, and to give us one of the most prominent walls in Chinatown, to do that was something that we spent a lot of time with. It took a year to develop the art, it took a year to develop the message, the little Easter eggs we hid throughout. A lot of people here don't know what the Qingming Scroll was or is, and so by hiding Easter eggs of the Chinese zodiac throughout the mural, it's now a Where's Waldo kind of situation. You have to make it fun and engaging, and instantly you have their attention, and once you have their attention, you can earn their time, and with that time, we can tell them a little of the Chinese culture. You'll see that this mural itself is made of stick figures, and in our artistic career, as we did all these art shows, people would come up to us and praise us for the art style that we kind of created, and they would always say, I love what you do, but I can only draw stick figures. And so we took that to heart as, like, how do we convince people that stick figures are fine? Pick up a pencil, doodle, express yourselves. And so our largest mural to date is using stick figures to help show that you can just do stick figures and just get out there and have fun.
Doing large-scale public arts, even like 6 years ago, was just unfathomable. So to have gotten to the point where we painted this giant mural and working with the community and, like, creating a vision together and then executing it, like, I think that's super rewarding, and especially when everyone feels like they're getting what they want out of it, and the end results, like, everyone's really pleased with what they received.
I couldn't have chosen a better space. I'm happy this was the one wall in all of Canada or even the US to do this, because there's not too many walls beside a river and a bridge about a mural of a river and a bridge. So it's like this the gateway into one of our Chinatowns, and you drive in over Centre Street Bridge and you see this piece, and even though you may not have time to quickly look to your right or left to see it, there's a parking lot right here so you can quickly pull in. I'm super happy to contribute to the revitalization of the space with just a cartoon stick figure picture, essentially.
Never just. Up next, we meet the designer of the Sewn Smith fashion line, a brand with purpose. Lisa, Sewn Smith is your brand. Can you let me know how that began for you?
So it is a Canadian fashion brand that is ethical, sustainable, and charitable. All of the fabric and clothing are ethically made in Canada. It is also sustainable. The spring-summer line is actually made from micromodal, which is derived from beech tree pulp, and that's known for its softness and breathability. And then, of course, all the packaging is eco-friendly. By having everything manufactured in North America, that drastically reduces carbon footprint. And then 7% of my profits are donated to organizations that fight human trafficking. There is a huge sea of fast fashion, so why not have purposeful fashion? Everybody needs clothes, and so why not create something that is purposeful and that is ethical, that's sustainable, that is charitable? I think when I was designing the pieces, I really wanted to create pieces that were timeless, versatile, comfortable, just simple. I had like longevity in mind. Just pieces you can have as wardrobe staples that you can wear forever. So this is just my way of keeping it simple, keeping it minimal, and so that's who it really is for. I've had girls in university buy my pieces, and I have seriously had more than one like 80-year-old women buy my piece. It's just for women that are drawn to the story, the message, and the styling of the brand. I think there are external factors that inspire. So I love to read. I'm always at the library, reading books on fashion, fiction, biographies. But at the same time, I feel that all of us are actually born with an innate ability to create or to be creative. We've all been there. We all have that ability to create. But I think as we get older, that kind of gets suppressed. The more I think we step out of our comfort zone, it creates more avenues to express the creativity that is already there. We just didn't even know. So that was the case with me. So it was born out of combining all the things that I care about, which is social justice. I've always liked fashion, always been intrigued with the idea of being an entrepreneur as well. So for me to become an entrepreneur, I feel like that just blew the doors open wide to express my creativity.
Tell me how you're creating something that was going to positively change people's lives, that helps women or people who have been trafficked.
Well, there are over 50 million people trafficked. Trafficking looks very different depending on the country. So, for example, in Canada, I know the majority of women that are trafficked are Indigenous. But if you look at other countries, they're trafficked for labor, they're trafficked for sex, there's domestic servitude. So there's all different types of trafficking. So in creating something that was ethically made, I can ensure no one's been trafficked for labor. And at the same time, by giving 7% to organizations, women that buy the clothes can feel not just good wearing it, but they can feel good knowing they're doing something purposeful. It's going towards something purposeful. I would love to have a brand of just ethically made quality products. Not just necessarily clothes or jewelry, but just branching out and allowing people to actually think about who made my product. How was it made? What is it made out of? That would be the big dream. I'm super proud in just like taking the leap of faith and jumping into this for that purpose.
The Strike Gallery has been a staple in the Bell Building for over 3 decades, a place for creatives to experiment with their craft. You are executive director here. So what I want to talk about is how you found yourself as the executive director of an art gallery.
Right, so I went to art school and I was a art school shithead and somebody gave me a chance. I got to work at an artisan center in Vancouver for 1 year, and then afterwards I randomly applied to a job in Calgary. And then after that, I ended up in a permanent position at Stride. So I jumped around and then I found myself here. As I started working and also moved to Calgary, there was a lot of relationship building within the arts community that I felt really special. When I first moved to Calgary, everyone immediately welcomed me, which I find it actually not very common in other bigger cities. And I found that really human element really genuine in Calgary's arts community. So there are 4 artists in here right now. The impact that a small opportunity as Stride can actually provide to the artist is affirming. I think it's not just a one-time exhibition opportunity. I really see it as an opportunity to find other artists that work and think in similar ways, and also finding people in these roles that can support them on a sustained basis, not just one-off. Visual artists especially, like compared to performance artists, they don't get to have an iterative opportunity. Like performance can happen many times, but often visual artists work in their studio alone. And then for 2 years, show something big, and then it's very anticlimactic after. And they also don't get to really witness how people interact with works in an exhibition. Right. So we understand that model is weird. And knowing that we are fully intentional with that, I think there is a positive change. Artists often say they genuinely felt supported in the space, which is what all we ask for, really, yeah. We do program through call for submissions. People actually can share what their practice is about, and we actually get to learn. We don't pigeonhole ourselves into who we know, because that's how arts community gets insular. So I think the door is open for people.
Now that you're having a residency program here, what will be next for Stride Gallery?
Well, the next step is I hope Stride is in a better place financially.
Let's get money!
Please. Because we have finite resources, we can't support as many artists that we want, and we're always operating in scarcity. We always have to say no to people, and I feel like everyone deserves an opportunity and support. So although we can't be everything for everyone, I really wish there could be more support to not only Stride Gallery, but other artisan centers in the city who's doing very similar work. We're all here for artist projects, so artists in the city can stay here and grow their practice without feeling like they need to move to a bigger city. So I really hope that the city, even if it's not the Stride, really supports artists in giving them some real estate.
Thank you to Rory and Polly, Lisa and Arun for sharing your stories and embodying the creative spirit. See you next time on Living a Creative Life.